Brought to you by Alman Auctions, the worldwide leader in antique tractor auctions.
Well, for decades, farmers across the world have relied on Ford Farm Power, and Jim Deakins of Jonesboro, Tennessee. You have a tractor that doesn't say Ford just right on it, but it's Ford built, isn't it?
It's a Fordson Super Major converted to four-wheel drive by a commercial limited in England.
And so where was this tractor built and used?
This tractor was built in England and brought over here, and it was used in Missouri to move hay. The guys in winter would put a chain around the big haystacks, and they'd actually drag them to where they wanted to feed. And the regular tractors wouldn't move them, so the four-wheel drives would just take right off with them.
Now give us the year and the make and model of this particular version of a Ford farm tractor.
This is a County Super 6. It's a six-cylinder industrial engine, 330 cubic inch, 95 horsepower.
Do you feel that horsepower when you're driving it?
Oh yes, when I loaded on my trailer, idling with that plow, and it's no effort for it to move it.
Tell us a little bit about that plow.
I bought that plow in Indiana. Farmer had retired and quit using it, and I thought this is going to make a perfect plow for my County 6 when I get it restored. So it's rated to pull a 6-bottom plow, but I think a 4 down in East Tennessee is about all it would do, maybe.
Tell us a little bit about how the County 6, or how many County 6 tractors you think came over from England back in the day.
I've heard there was 18 come to the States. Canada also got some. And when I was actually rebuilding this, I got parts from Canada, England, and Australia. I couldn't find no parts here in the States, except just a few seals and bearings. I rebuilt all the drive linkage and stuff, and most of the bearings come from the States. But the rest of it come from England and Canada. The power takeoff was twisted and broke because of the power, so I had to replace all that.
I know this one spent its working life in Missouri. What do you think farmers would have appreciated about the County 6 back in 1964?
Oh, the four-wheel drive, because they said that when you try to break a haystack loose, a regular tractor wouldn't do it, and when they got the four-wheel drives, they just break them loose and pull them good. So I think that, plus the differential lock, you can lock all four wheels together. There's no slipping right there. And the convenience of the gear shifts and stuff, and it was just a little ahead of its time, I think, in '64.
Now, when you take the County 6 to a big show like the Appalachian Antique Farm Show, what kind of comments do you get?
Well, I brought it 2 years ago, and they took so many pictures of it, I couldn't get close to it. So, yeah, I've had a lot of comments. It's a great showpiece for me, yeah. And that's the reason I did it. I went to Missouri to a show, and a guy had 2 of them, and I fell in love with them. And I said, "You know where any more are?" He said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "East Tennessee." He said, "Well, I don't want nobody around here to have another one." But he said, "I'll tell you where it's at." And it was in a junkyard in Missouri. So I went and bought it out of the scrapyard.
Looks to me like you found a Ford diamond in the rough.
Oh, I did, yeah. And I actually found another one in North Carolina to get some parts off of, and maybe one of these days I'll restore it. But yeah, I like the County 6s.
What is it about Ford Farm Power that you think really set it apart as far as farmers and the tractors that they used back in the day?
Well, I think the engine, this engine will start if the battery's up, yeah, in any kind of weather. I have started that tractor in 20-degree weather without any starting fluid or anything, and most tractors that built back in the 60s won't do that. And I'm not going to mention no names, but you know what I mean, I think.
All right, Jim Deakins, thanks so much for sharing your story of some Ford Farm Power with a little bit of a British accent.